Now there is also one more way that some people suggest, but then it's not recommended way. So in order to ensure that changes in case of source side are going to get reflected into the UI, what we tried was, we tried iNotify property change. Now there is also one of the shortcut that people use in case of data source classes is this. That is, instead of we writing this public event property changed or implementing this event, here is what people normally try. Let me use a shortcut for comment. So I'm going to recreate this class called as EMP. We used here a couple of properties sometime back, name and age. So here is what people do. Instead of using normal properties, people try to create something called as dependency properties. But normally for entity classes or data source classes, it is not suggested that you add dependency properties. I'm going to use a quick shortcut for dependency properties, that is propdp. And then propdp shortcut, if you hit tab, it's just going to generate one property. Let's say my property was of type string and the property name is name itself. Then what happens is you have to mention here who is the owner of this property. So the owner of the property is current class, that is EMP itself. And then would you like to have some sort of default values or any kind of extra information about this property? So I would say nothing. So maybe most probably I'll add here null. So I don't want to provide any extra information with respect to this property. So I will specify property metadata as in null in here. Now if you understand it well, what we have here is instead of a normal getter setter property, what you see is in a get there is a method called as get value, and in a set there is a method called as set value. So these methods are not defined by us. So then what is suggested is these methods are going to come down from some base, and then we can inherit here something from dependency object. So dependency object is a class which is, if I just press F12, is going to tell you that is it has a dispatcher object, and then it implements or it comes from dispatcher object, and it has got those get value and set value kind of methods which we just observed. So now if I run this one more time without implementing iNotify property change, there's a small change because I need an age property as well. So I will quickly define age property. So full property or dependency property, let's call it as integer age, and then we will define owner class as in EMP again, and then we will define here something like null. One more time, and we'll close this. Let's try to run this and see whether change in the code reflects the change in the UI. So if we run this and if I click here one more time, notice it, you will find out here changes done in the source code or source data source reflects the change in the UI. So this seems easy just because of the shortcut, but then the theory of dependency properties is going to ruin the performance of your application, because we have implemented or we have inherited from dependency object in case of my data source class, which is ultimately a POCO, plain old CLR object, which is entity class, which is holding a data, which is meant to hold the data. So this is completely wrong, that a data holder class should not be implementing dependency object and should not have dependency properties, because dependency properties are not meant for your data classes, they are meant for control classes. So in order to understand what I mean by dependency object is meant for control classes, we will try to understand the theory of dependency properties, like why this theory exists.